torta por la mesa. Torta para la mesa.
Torta para la mesa, pancake.
Una torta para la mesa. It's pancake for the table.
No, pero
Oh my
pancake es
goodness.
pancake. Hello, hello, hello. Here we are in Friday Night Movie. This is the Spanish version of Shai Corman. Ahora voy a traducir en español. Este soy yo, Shai, la voz más sexy del planeta. Suéltate el pelo y prepárate. Aquí vengo. Todo decidido a enseñarte mis tortitas con chocolate. Derrítete en el horno conmigo. Aquí estamos. Aquí empezamos.
All right. Here we are.
These sound effects. He said, I'm here to cook you my pancake in the oven with melting chocolate. Take your hair down.
So, as you heard, we had a different intro than usual. Here we are for another episode of Friday Night Movie. That introduction was done by mi hermano, Jose Manuel Gomez Gonzalez, the husband of my sister Lily, who was brought specifically because he's been practicing making fun of me. Actually, it's actually deeper than that, right? Because he's only listened to the podcast for his first time.
And he had no idea your voice was like that. He's like, what? That's Shy? But he's so sexy. So, then in the car while we were driving, he started doing it. He's going, oh la 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 la, I'm shy, soy shy. And he started making fun of you, and I was dying. I was like...
Like how I just died. Like the tears are streaming down my face, and I'm pretty sure I stopped breathing at one point.
I recommend people Google Translate every single word that he said, because you will piss your pants.
So,
Y hago el p porque cuando él habla hace se oye alguna vez el p ese.
oh, okay. Well, so what you're hearing is the three siblings are actually in the same place. We are on vacation in the Outer Banks in North Carolina, a vacation that Lily planned that is so far a winner.
It's a total I told you show.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you get the I Told You show. Now, I will say the line to get into the theater, i.e. the 20-hour drive, or whatever it was, we were a little bit hesitant to give you the I Told You show, but now that we're here, you get it. This is an I Told You show vacation. It's amazing.
So we're having a great time. We're in a house, and we are going to take advantage of the family being here because in real time, ridiculous things are happening on this vacation. And and in real time, I'm being made fun of. And so I can't.
Yeah.
So
You know what that's called?
Why don't we talk about the drive down since Becky talked about that? So we're talking about the drive. And during the drive, our mother, who is a true inspiration.
First of all, I want to actually, before you even get to that, it was the night before the drive, and Shai looks at me and Vlad and goes, every dad in America is leaving at 6 a.m. to get to the Outer Banks. So you left at like 4:30 in the morning?
No,
5 in the morning?
I got up at 4:15. We left at 5. Allie and I were there we made it in like under 6 hours.
Yeah, it's like record time.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. And while we're driving, you know, we're updating mom and dad via WhatsApp, and mom calls during the trip, and she says, "Where are you guys?" I said, "I don't know. We're at this part of wherever they were staying." Where were they staying? They were staying somewhere in Virginia.
Virginia Beach?
We're passing Virginia Beach. She's like, "Oh, you're right past where we are. Stop and have breakfast with our random friends that we're staying at this weekend."
No one's ever met or heard of.
But they seem like lovely. But they seem like lovely people. They seem like
Do mom and
lovely
dad just
people.
collect friends up and down coastlines? I've never even heard of these people.
Anyways, they're really nice people.
Sure, they're
and
lovely.
they wanted us to stop for breakfast, and my answer to Mom was, no, I'm not stopping. I got up at 4:30 in the morning to beat all of the traffic. I'm keeping going. I might not even stop to go to the bathroom. I might just use an empty
bottle.
empty root beer, an empty diet root
Which
beer can.
I feel like has happened before in your car.
Yeah, we'll save that for alligators.
Definitely happened with me and Mom once.
Yeah, that's what happened with you and Mom.
So we are driving down. I said, no, Mom. And she goes, well, you're going to hit, where were you staying?
Like by Kitty Hawk.
By Kitty Hawk. You're going to hit Kitty Hawk by this time. Meet Lily for brunch. I said, no, Mom, I'm not stopping for brunch because this is I got up early so I could get there and beat all the traffic on this one-lane highway in the Outer Banks. And she keeps hawking me. And then I said, Mom, have you been listening to the podcast? Are you just doing this so we can tell a story about you on the podcast? And she says, very funny. So then,
I don't know if it was before or after you refused to meet up with her, but at some point she did just start texting me directly, giving me different landmarks where I should pull over and meet her.
She asked me where you were. She said, where's Becky? How far back? So that's probably my fault. Anyways, we're passing through Kitty Hawk, and Lily calls. And I'm expecting to tell this funny story about Mom saying we should meet up. And Lily's like, are you near Kitty Hawk? Can you stop and have brunch with us?
Literally was like, stop right now. Stop the car. We'll go have brunch.
We've seen this before, but Lily's morphing into Mom happens on a slowly but surely basis. So then we arrive. We have a really fun dinner that night. And Mom and Dad really have been listening to the podcast a lot lately, which I really appreciate because every download helps. But then Mom sits down at dinner and she says, I heard Josh's complaint list. She says, well, I'm keeping a list too. Chicken burgers, eggplant parmesan, and now FaceTime? I guess I won't FaceTime anymore. And I said, really? That's the prize? I'm like, okay, well.
What else can
won't
we weigh?
make the chicken burgers anymore.
Or FaceTime.
Or FaceTime me.
All right.
It's a win-win.
And anyways, so that was my drive down. Now, Lily, you've been on vacation with Jose.
Yes.
And your son. And I realized that since we have Jose on, this is a great opportunity for us to reflect on your love story, which is one of the great love stories of all time.
It's a lot of pressure. But...
We've referred to it many times because of your love of star-crossed lovers. But also, I would add, is that the story is immortalized in one of the songs on the What Does It Eat EP.
It is on Spotify. You can catch it. You can listen to it.
So you should now listen to the song Surfer. You can find it on Spotify by What Does It Eat. Howie, or go back and listen to the Howie episode to get more background on that. But that song is word for word, almost 100% accurate story of your romance.
I mean, it's missing one key part, but
That Becky
I'm
was
not
there.
making a big deal about it, but I was technically there when they met.
She was.
Fair enough. And so I thought maybe you could tell a little bit about your story, because we do like to do what we call these like family episodes, where we get into a little bit of the family and
A little bit of the origin story, Shai?
Exactly, origin story. Gato, this is an origin story for you.
It is an origin story, but I don't know if this happens to other couples or other people, or even with like their own siblings or friends. This doesn't happen so much with the three of us, because one thing I'm grateful about the three of us, we pretty much have more or less the same accurate memory of things. Yeah. And when we remember a story, our versions aren't wildly different, and if they are, we like admit it. We're like, oh my god, that's like, I don't remember that.
Does he not remember the Italian restaurant?
He remembers it, but I just want to like preempt and say
Al-
that his
Ali-
version
Ali
is
Bar-
different than my version.
Allie barely remembers. Like, I have to
Meeting you?
remind her our story on a regular basis.
No, he remembers the story. Just we often argue about the details, because he embellishes certain things.
It was you, the one that threw yourself on me.
That's what he says.
Kissing me.
That's what he says to everyone.
In
and
the
it's
middle
so
of the
annoying,
street.
dude.
where
Gives me a bad reputation.
I didn't expect that.
And it's not true. But I'll tell you, I'll tell you a brief
Oh, God.
synopsis.
No part of me believes this will be brief.
Becky and I, and this is a true story, were in Ecuador. Well, you can participate in this, Beck, because you were there.
We were in Ecuador. We went to a little town called Baños, which is famous for volcanoes and hot springs.
Hot
But
springs,
We never went to the hot springs.
Because there were like dirty piles of mud.
Yeah,
with,
we
like,
didn't go to the hot
only
springs.
like local dudes.
With 1,000 people in one little swimming pool.
Yeah, and
we
it smells
didn't
like
miss.
sulfur, and it's
we
like
didn't do
so
that.
dirty. So we didn't do that.
We were
He
in
did,
this
though.
town. I'm going to tell my part of it. We were in this town, and we'd been in Ecuador for like a few weeks at that point. We went out to go get some dinner, and I specifically was like, I don't want to eat like local food. Like, I need a change of food. So we went to like this random little...
There was only 2 restaurants in the town.
Oh, I guess that's true. There was 2 restaurants. One was like local, typical food.
there was nobody in there.
Which is delicious, which we ate all the time. And then one was like an Italian restaurant, and there was one person in there.
Right, because we went off season. We didn't realize that like that's not when people go to this town.
So we go in there, and Lily says, "Ooh, it's like another traveler. We should invite him to sit with us." And I go, "No, I have no interest in like meeting a stranger tonight." And she's like, "Okay. Let's ask him if he speaks English. If he speaks English, we'll invite him to our table.
like verbatim
and if
what
he
happened.
doesn't speak English, like don't worry. We won't invite him." I'm like, "Okay, great." She goes, "Excuse me, do you speak English?" He goes, "No." And then Lily goes, "Great. Would you want to sit with us? We're
yeah,
traveling.
yeah.
Let's sit. Let's eat together." And then we did. And then yada yada yada. They're married.
That's
That's it. That's my version. That's the part I played in it.
Okay, so I'll pipe in a little bit. So they go back and forth over like a year. Jose tracks Lily down a year later when you guys were studying Spanish in Spain.
Well, that's generous. That's generous to say we're studying Spanish.
Lily doesn't move back. But then it was Passover, a little while longer.
Later, it was about another like 7 months or something later.
Another 7 months later that Jose came to meet the family for the first time. And what were your impressions of meeting the family from the first time?
Oh my God, that was crazy. I love the part of the Pesach that you have to drink 4 glasses of wine. So I thought, that's my family.
Because he
Let's
came
join.
here for Passover.
And that was, except for the jamón serrano, that looked very Spanish dinner. So I had the best time. And from that moment, I met the whole family, and I was one more.
But what was your impressions of, let's say, my dad?
Well, that will come later. Like, it was difficult. I will remember always the comparison that Roger told me, and that he said that a fish cannot marry a bird. And
It's really sad. That's what he told them.
But I thought that everything can be done, and so we fought. Both of us, we really fought for our relationship, and we thought that impossible could be something that we can make possible, and here we are.
Yeah, and I would say that to the extent that my parents treat all the in-laws like their own children, I there's a bond between you and my dad that's really special, so special that he buys you underwear. And
On multiple occasions.
Like,
Dad
not
will
just
show
one
up
time.
and be like, I found these very European bikini briefs.
No, and I
think
bought
you'll like
one
them."
set for yourself and one set for me. So when Dad comes to visit us and we do laundry, we don't know whose underwear is who. I just hand them out like Tic Tacs. Like one for you, one for you.
We use the same underwear. That's true. And
Because Dad buys it for him.
I didn't know that. That's so cute.
okay, yeah. I mean, the beginning was very tough relationship because it looked really impossible to get together for the many different things, since cultural to religion to social. But at the same time, we were so attached to each other that it seemed impossible to not be together.
Now, what was it like? You already had met Becky. You knew Becky for like years before you met me. What was it like meeting the older brother of the family?
So as much as Roger was very difficult in terms of
think the word you used was monster the other day.
going through the first stages, I have to say that then when I passed that stage of the video game, then arrived the real one, the real challenge, who was Mr. Shai Corman. I really tried.
Or pancake for the table. How do you say that in Spanish?
I really tried tortitas
Para la mesa.
Para la mesa. I really tried hard to be friends of him from the beginning, and he was treating me very psychologically. It was like a horror movie, and I didn't know where to find the crack, and I tried everything. And even today, I'm not sure that he likes me.
Stop it. I took up martial arts to impress you.
The tables have turned.
Okay, all right. Now this is a wonderful opportunity to go down memory lane. We love you. You're our brother. Now let's talk about, I guess, some of the highlights of vacation so far. Namely, last night's pizza dinner made by my wife.
So good.
Yeah.
But sauce made by Mom.
Sauce made by Mom.
Mom's sauce.
Legendary.
She couldn't like I know everybody
Fairy
talks about
dust,
their parents'
it's so good.
food and stuff, but like she could do a Newman's Own, Fanya's Own or something.
Yeah, of just her tomato sauce.
Her tomato sauce is so good.
And that one salad dressing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that one salad dressing I'm talking about. That's it.
Oh man, that was really good. Okay, and then we watched a couple of movies, and they're movies that we've referenced previously.
Should we discuss this pizza dinner a bit more? You need to understand that it was a very thin crust with this delicious sauce.
We bought it at the supermarket, the thin crust.
Yeah, and the sauce is literally at addictive levels. It's so good. You can't stop eating it. Covered with, I would say, Alison Tombrose Corman, the perfect layer of cheese.
She did a great ratio of cheese to sauce.
Perfect ratio of cheese to sauce, so that when the pizza cools down and the cheese kind of solidifies, it's still delicious. It's not like too much cheese, or then it's like
or too little cheese.
Or too little cheese. And then Shai bought, like some masterful pepperoni. We're not even a pepperoni family.
Look, send me into a store and find me the sliced, cured, nitrate-filled meat, and I will find you the best one.
And I would just say, as a combo, it was one of the most comfort foody pizza experiences I've had in a long time.
And then I bought all of the low-fat ice cream.
All of it. Give me all the low-fat ice cream.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the Ron Swanson quote. It's sort of like, I guess it's anti-Ron Swanson, though, in the sense to buy a diet food that much of
it is, but it's give me all the eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
I'm worried you've misheard me. Not a lot of eggs and bacon. All the eggs and bacon.
And to be clear, I lived out Becky's description of me when I buy food because I sat down and took a tub for myself.
Yeah.
And Becky said, "Is that pint for you?" And I said, "Yes, that's how this works. The other pint,
Yes.
that's for everybody else."
That's how Shai calculates. He goes, how much do I want for myself? And then he
Duplicates
it for the number of people in the house.
I don't want stress. It's like
He doesn't.
More is more with Shai.
You're able, but it's
Not
Shai.
less is more.
Shai is really good at sharing if there's enough food where he technically doesn't have to share.
Except with my chips, my potatoes.
that's true.
He ate all my fries.
I didn't eat all your fries.
No, I ate all the fries.
So people should understand that Jose, who is a fourth dan,
Going to get his fifth done this year.
black belt in Mugendo, which is a mix of kickboxing and karate
And taekwondo.
And taekwondo. He eats meat and potatoes on a level that like one person would eat. He eats 5 times.
Like it's like what, like perhaps a small village could,
Or like
eat.
a nursing mom.
Or a nursing mom.
And he gets, and you see,
Go toe to toe with him.
I get anxious because as I got to know him, I want him to have a good time on vacation, and I get anxious when I only see 2 trays of French fries because there's 1 tray for Jose and 1 tray for
the
everybody
Also,
rest
because,
of the
French
family.
fries aren't like your thing, you feel that pain. You're like, I
That
know.
anxiety
The anxiety
of,
of like, I
I
want to be
don't
able to
wanna
enjoy
share.
my meal and not feel rushed.
Yeah, and I looked at him.
And I have to share.
And I looked at him, and I kept looking at his face during the meal, being like, "Are you okay? You're sad?
He's sad.
Are you sad?"
But now movie reviews?
Yeah,
Moving on
so
to
we
movies?
watched a couple of movies that we've talked about that I've seen before, but we talked about we were going to watch together. And we watched Super Troopers 2, and we watched Avengers.
Infinity War.
Infinity War, which
I have so much to say about.
let's be clear. On the first night,
I don't have that much to say about
On
it.
the- So much
on
to
the
say.
first night, we were debating between Avengers, Infinity War, Deadpool, and Super Troopers 2. And Dad said, "I don't want to watch Deadpool. They should have stopped at the first one. So
Well, after Guardians, he's not wrong because he's like terrified it's going to be bad.
Guardians Part 2 was so
bad. It makes you
let's
not
let's do
wanna-
Super Troopers first because there is more to say. Actually,
but I just want to get to the fact that we start the movie. And
he makes us switch the movie because he doesn't want to see Deadpool, and then within 10 seconds
he
fell
goes,
asleep.
"Oh, it's one of these movies," and then he asked, "Well, which one of these is the better one?" And I said, "Honestly, out of Deadpool 2, Infinity War, and Super Troopers 2, Super Troopers 2 is definitely the funniest one,
Yeah.
or definitely is the best one." And now I would like to know if that is in fact the case.
Sure.
We haven't seen
Oh.
Deadpool 2 yet.
I haven't seen Deadpool, but I know it's
But
true. Because
no,
Super
but
Troopers
Super
2
Troopers-
was a joy. That movie was
there's not a moment.
so much better.
There's not a moment where you're not laughing.
You're not enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
Jose did say something though after seeing the first one that like made the nostalgia build up so big in my heart that like it was like hard to take. He sees Super Troopers 1 last week to prep for this, and he's like, it was really funny. He enjoyed it, but he was like, gosh, just think about like if I had seen it like years ago, like as a younger person, like when we were in like college or late in high school or whatever. He's like, how much more funny it would have been, right, in that moment. And I was like, oh, it's true. We laughed so hard at them. We repeated those lines so many times.
Yeah.
It was like, no matter what, when you're a little bit older, sometimes that experience just isn't the same,
not the
even
same.
though it's funny.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it made me a bit nostalgic.
But the second one delivers.
The second one delivers.
Second one delivers, and they bring back bits in a way that's like legitimately funny and works with each of the characters, where it doesn't just feel like they're bringing them back just to like say the word shenanigans or just to
Well,
like
'cause,
ask
Farva
for a
could be
liter of cola.
phenomenally annoying in this one, like his shtick. But
they
they
made it
really,
really-
did it like so you're annoyed along with the other characters, but you don't hate seeing him on screen,
Right, because you know it's always
Because
going
they
to...
electrocuted him multiple times, and so you enjoy that. It's,
I love Kevin Heffernan. I think he's awesome. He's also on the Goldberg sometimes as one of
Right,
the teachers,
yeah.
the one who throws chalk back.
yeah, he's one of the teachers.
And Jay Chandrasekhar directs
Yeah,
another of
yeah,
Goldberg's
yeah.
episodes. And I think that I thought about this with Farva in this version of watching it again with you all. How they do that so right, because you have to hate Farva with the other characters, but also love him as part of their gang and root for him to be part of the gang and not be thrown out.
Right. What were you gonna say, Jose?
Nothing. No. For me, it's. I know they look. They are a group of friends, because for me to make the second one looks like a challenge for each of them. Like for example, I don't know the names. The leader. Who is also, I think, the one that directs them.
Thorny.
No.
Thorny.
So in the first movie, he's like the super macho guy, hippie, and here he meets Flova Scotia. And so he became like the
Super feminine.
feminine version, and I think it's super challenging and funny.
Right, I see what you're saying. Like they didn't just do the same jokes; they challenged each of their characters.
Exactly. And this Farva is like extra annoying in the second one, and I don't know who else. The other one, the handsome one in the first one, then here is always about shaving his balls, and he doesn't look as pretty, let's say, as in the first one. And,
He's like 20 years older.
yeah, exactly. But the rest of the other, they look pretty the same.
They look like they were
the-
frozen in time.
Yeah,
They look
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, they were. That was really good. Okay, and now, so do you have so in the second go around? So there's some great.
But wait, I have a question. If you're not from Quebec, do you find this funny?
That's a good question.
Because I mean, Jose found it funny, but
So,
it's
for
like
the-
so far removed from it that it's just like it is what it is.
For the listeners, there's some. The movie takes
Oh,
place
yeah.
in Quebec, and there are Mounties and jokes,
endless
very
Quebec
deep
jokes.
jokes about Quebec and Canada, but not just Canada, in Quebec,
like French Canada. It's very specific. Yeah.
French Canada, and things that you know that like Montreal and the area around that is for. It was very funny. I thought it was.
I thought
really
it was
funny.
amazing.
Now the one comment we have to make is that though the guys that played the Canadian Mounties were hilarious and they're such good actors and they're well cast, it is a little bit like they couldn't even find one French Canadian actor to be in the whole movie.
Well,
I feel like that's a little
I will
lacking.
say Emmanuelle Chakri is at least she is French and Canadian, although she's
Sure.
she's
No, and clearly the movies are more about like them doing it with their friends,
Like, yeah.
like they're the funny people
In the
they
bit.
know.
Yeah.
Obviously, they would never be able to be held to like a standard of authenticity for them.
Right, I don't know.
you're not
Okay.
like
We just know that there are really,
Really
funny
funny.
French Canadian actors.
So, what's your favorite scene of the movie?
When they're making up the French words.
That's-
Yes,
that's the
yes,
best.
That's just
100%.
hands down was
It's one of the
brilliant because
funniest
you know
things.
they improvise that. That's so
I'm
difficult.
also, I don't know if you did this, but we did this, like Howie and I used to do that all the time
Sure.
with each other.
Yes,
We'd
I
all the
did it
time-
because I
yeah.
knew French.
Yeah.
Because I knew how to speak it.
no, but
I
it
just-
just like
you
make
just-
up all these different words. It's just so funny.
I like that. I really like the introduction of the Canadian version of Farva, played by Keith.
From
So
Kingdom.
good.
When he goes,
The doppelganger, how like
Yeah.
each office has one.
Guy Ledouche or whatever his name is. Or no, Louis Ledouche or something. I don't know what it's called, but it was really
It
funny.
was
La
really
Banouche,
good.
La Banouche.
It was really funny.
Cornbread. And did you... Okay, so who was your favorite character, old, like from the original, and new this time? Who do
I
you
think in part 1, Foster is my favorite, and then in part 2, Farva is actually my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a Mac across the board.
Oh,
I
Mac,
love
of
Mac.
course, yes.
I just like Mac because I like his. He plays it both ways. Like he's, you know what I mean?
Silly and a
he's
good
silly and a good cop, and he's able to make fun of everybody. But he's friends with. He seems like the least annoying.
Yeah.
And he's to me his dry humor is the funniest.
So he and Kevin Heffernan have a podcast called Chewing It. It's
Oh,
really,
really?
good.
Oh,
And
okay.
they interviewed Adam Durrance once because he's friends with them. In fact, there's a movie
oh really?
called Freeloaders, of which the Broken Lizard guys appear as side characters. They're not like stars in it, but they are in like a very funny, very R-rated part of the movie. And the whole premise of the movie is they're these people who live in Adam Durrance's house, and they're trying to they've been staying in it for free forever. But Adam Durrance is getting married and he's going to sell the house, and they can't live in the house anymore.
That's really
Anyways,
funny.
so they have like a. Anyways, that's a good.
That concert was amazing, by the way.
Oh yeah, right. We can
Yeah,
report.
we didn't.
We'll report on that during
Yeah.
the recommendations. And so, okay, so all right, so we got a Mac and we got a
Farva.
Farva.
For part 2, yeah.
Jose. Who was your
I
favorite?
don't
of the
know.
year?
I think Farva is too annoying. I think Thorny maybe in the second one, and
He's pretty amazing. In this.
and besides them in the first one, I laughed so much with the three guys at the beginning.
Oh,
One
the
guy-
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
in the
Thanks,
car.
yeah.
yeah. I laughed
Three
so much.
stoners.
Yeah.
that is a great scene.
The schnozberries.
They like
schnozberries.
Welcome to our podcast where we just say lines from our favorite movies. Hopefully, you've seen Super Troopers and you find that funny.
If you haven't, just go see it. It's a great recommendation.
Yeah.
Be in a
But-
silly mood.
Just watch them both, exactly. And I would say in this one, Thorny brought it for me because I think that the Flova Scotia bit is really
That's
the bit
amazing.
that I can't stop forgetting. But it wasn't just, it was the way that he kept doing these things as he takes the Flova Scotia
Right.
pills, and then it was the way each of his friends would react. It just killed me every single time. It wasn't just the bit; it was like the friends' reaction. So I loved that. And what about new characters? So we had Rob Lowe introduction. We
Oh,
had
so good.
I mean, he's like this. I feel like when Rob Lowe appears in your movie, it's like street cred. And at the same time, you know you're just going to get like that standard funny Rob Lowe that
Yeah.
like appears randomly in movies now.
Like, it's a great casting.
So I liked Rob Lowe. I would say the best performance of a new guy. There is a scene, if anybody listens, and I don't want to give it away, but there's a scene where Will Sasso and the other guy, the one guy who I don't know,
The Danny
are
DeVito.
talking about Danny
The
DeVito.
Danny DeVito bit is, I think that's one of
yeah.
the best scenes of the movie.
Absolutely killed me.
Yeah.
It was, to me, it was one of the, that
That
to me
was-
is, I think is the funniest scene in the whole movie. That movie
I
just,
agree. The Danny DeVito bit was brilliant.
okay. All right. Now moving ahead to the next night, we watched the first half of Avengers Infinity War because that movie is
4 hours?
It's
like longer than Titanic? How
It's
long is
really
it?
long, and it's only half over.
No, we're only halfway through it.
And this is a movie that
Like going to see the Harry Potter play.
Lily's been not wanting to
You need like a full.
Harry Potter play of Avengers, and this is a movie that Lily's been not wanting to see for a long time. But I know that for superhero movies, if she watches with me,
Yes,
There-
but it depends because we didn't even get through
Civil War?
or Winter Soldier. Okay, I don't know which one.
And
You didn't finish
love
either.
Cap, and I still haven't seen. I saw the one where the guy that wears the flight suit gets introduced, but I didn't see the one after
Winter
that.
Soldier? Okay. Well, I'm happy for you because you'll get to see it, and it's really good.
So it
Which
is a
one?
testament.
Civil War. It's not as good
Civil
as Winter
War, I
Soldier,
haven't
but
seen.
it's almost.
Okay, see, I think I would like that. So
Some people
I need
think
to,
Civil War is the best.
I feel like I need to start off here because when I was super pregnant, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2, and I came on the podcast, and I was raging. I was so angry. I basically made the claim I'm never watching another superhero movie again. I hate all of them. This has ruined superhero movies for me. And I don't think I've seen one since because I was just so upset.
A Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, right. That was the only one I saw. Then a couple months ago, I saw...
forcing you, like, it is good, it is good.
No, and it was when I realized that Taika Waititi, is that his name?
Yeah. Waikiki.
Yeah. Directed it, I was like, fine, I'm going to watch it. That, like, started to get my... That's, like, kind of, like, got my faith going again, which made me able to agree to watch... What is this one? Infinity War. Waititi?
Which in my head I keep
Infinity.
saying because we were mixing up with Deadpool, I kept thinking Avengers Infinity Pool.
And I will say that I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I thought every scene had a purpose. It was constantly moving the story forward,
Because
which is
there's
one of the
17,000
things we need,
actors in it.
But that's what worked for it because in all of the other movies,
If you look at the
it's like you
poster,
have
they
it's
don't
perfect.
fit.
Honestly, it's fine. It's fine.
many
Make
of
it
them
on
are
top of
in
it.
there?
My biggest criticism of these movies is that they're 2.5 hours long and nothing happens in most
Tony
of the story.
Stark.
It's just nothing happens. Nothing is moving forward. It's so long. And this one is like you have so many characters and so much needs to happen to get to the climax of the film that every single scene feels important. There's, we can all agree, a major plot hole.
Yeah.
And we don't have to,
we don't have to go into it.
We don't have to go into it, but if you
whatever.
now read up on it, there's one scene in the movie where everyone's like, what the hell happened?
And then as far as the ending goes, I'm not going to give a spoiler, but
Everybody knows. I think
as far as the
all over
ending
the
goes,
internet.
as
It's
far
ridiculous
as
if
far
you
as the
don't know.
ending goes, I actually found it exciting and not depressing because I'm not emotionally invested in any of the characters. So I was like, oh, cool. Wonder something exciting is going to have to happen in the next movie. It felt like a good cliffhanger to me instead of feeling very upset or emotional or like, oh, how could they do this to all the characters? So, anyway. Overall, I did enjoy.
I will say a few things. One is that I think that I don't like when there's a lot of these characters in one movie. Like the Black Panther is better because it's just one. I'm the only person that
Oh, I
ironically
saw Black Panther too, right?
like Doctor Strange. So I guess
Now I
I'm
wanna
the
see
only
Doctor
one that
Strange.
like that
because you
movie.
like when it's one
Right,
story.
and I like hello, Gato. I like origin stories. Like
I do like a
I
good
do
origin
like
story,
a good
though.
origin story. Cumberbatch. I mean, he's
Fine.
the best.
He was
And
very good at
in his origin story is they do it similarly to like Batman with Christian Bale. So it's sort of like watching the same movie but with wizards.
Cool.
It's like Harry Potter meets
Harry
Batman.
Potter means a lot of
I'll
good
say
Harry
this.
Potter
I'll say
references.
this because it's the only one of the Marvel movies I haven't finished, except for Incredible Hulk, which counts but doesn't count. I would watch it with you to finish watching it to see if it's actually good.
Yeah, like I mean, I didn't mind that movie. I like that, and I like. But so normally I don't like when they're all together. I don't like the Avenger movies because they're all together and it's so repetitive and they're always doing the exact same thing.
I agree with you. I don't like the
Right.
Avenger movies. I don't think that works. But I think really making it like everyone,
huge.
where it's people from different universes and worlds and stuff.
Right, and it annoyed me
That
because
was
the Guardians were in it because I was like, no, I just want a better Guardians movie. I don't want like a short, like this like little short Guardians film and a little short Thor film. But I'd rather that than a crap Guardians movie. So I was like, okay, and they did it well. That's the thing of these little
They did it
vignettes of
well.
all these guys together. And again, the original Avengers are the ones I like the least. So sort of like I didn't
Captain.
care, except for Captain.
To be
Love
clear,
Captain.
I'm going to defend the original Avengers because first of all, you got to respect where things come from. Number one, right? The Marvel guys have been building this for years. They have been planning ahead to introduce the Avengers and then bring in other characters to the point where I think they make huge mistakes sometimes, where they'll make a movie just to introduce other characters. Like Iron Man 2 is the worst example of that. But even Marvel Civil War, which is a really cool movie, that's the one where they introduce Captain America Civil War.
okay.
That's the one where they introduce both Black Panther and Spider-Man. So the first time either of those guys appears in a movie is in that movie. And I think it's really good because I personally don't like origin stories as the first story. I find it to be a drag. So I think that anytime Hemsworth, Evans, Robert Downey Jr. in particular, anytime those three were on, and Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson, I don't feel like they fully committed to what her character was supposed to do in this particular story.
Agreed.
But any times, that doesn't mean she won't have more. They're planning this over 2 movies. In fact, I think that one of the things the Russo brothers did well, and they directed Winter Soldier, they directed Civil War, which are 2 of the most complicated and best of the movies, is they decided who this one was going to be about, and you have a sense of who's most important. And even if it's not 100% your favorite character. Yeah, I think they did. I think you walk away, you know that Doctor Strange is really important. You know that Iron Man is important.
No Guardian is important.
The Guardians,
None of the Guardians.
The Guardians were important for
Rocket.
this part of the story.
Right.
They were important. They were important for this part of the story. But that was their arc. Was this part of the story?
Mm-hmm.
I think Gamora's part as his daughter will play a major role in the finale of the story. But I think that the Guardians absolutely, they were going to be showcased big in this movie, and then they're going to make room for some new characters that are being introduced.
That's what was kind of good. I think what you're saying is that certain characters had a purpose and an arc, and then they played that out, and now we're done. And
exactly.
That's important.
And people say, "Oh, where's Hawkeye?" I said, "Where's Valkyrie?" Because Tessa Thompson is amazing.
Where's also it makes no sense considering where this movie starts. Where's Valkyrie?
Right.
Wasn't she with Thor
on the ship? She goes with him.
In my opinion, if I'm opening up the next movie, I'm opening up with whatever happened to Valkyrie. She's on some other planet.
Because there's a reason that she's not with Thor when
and maybe she finds Captain Marvel, who they introduce in they reference in the final credit scenes, and.
Ooh, I just thought of something. Go.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just thought of something. Okay, so you know how the only time they're able to actually weaken Thanos for a few moments is by using Mantis, right, to get inside his head. And then we've been having this discussion about you have to beat him from an emotional, mental place, not a physical strength. And then in one of the very last scenes, when Thor puts his axe into his chest and he goes, "You should have gone for the head," and then disappears. And I think that's a great foreshadow for the next film. Like what we've been saying is that it's not going to be about physical strength. It's going to be about something mental or something emotional.
And this is based on a comic book that came out then when I was a kid called The Infinity Gauntlet, and then the subsequent story, Infinity War. Or I think so. I mean, I never read Infinity War, but I read Infinity Gauntlet, and a lot of this is similar. Some of it's not the same at all. But the notion that it is more than a physical feat that will beat Thanos, someone who can control reality at this point, who's on a higher level than God, I think that's going to play in this notion of loss. And I think that the notion of loss and people's sacrifice, watching it a second time, really. So there's this big moment where there's a plot hole where one of the characters, in order to, because of their anger of losing another character, basically blows up the whole plot that the good guys are using where they almost win. And watching it a second time, knowing that was going to happen, which was, it still doesn't excuse the dumbness of that scene, but if you look at Scarlet Witch, who is struggling with the decision as to whether or not she's going to lose Vision, because he might have to sacrifice himself. If you're looking at the decision of Gamora to go with Thanos to protect everybody else. If you're looking at who else makes sacrifices in this one, Thor loses everybody. That's a theme, and talking about everyone he's lost.
Doctor Strange.
And Doctor Strange, and you talk about Peter Quill, right? Everyone's kind of, there's that moment. It's kind of funny, him and Thor, but it's also kind of sad. Like they're competing for who has had the most pain in their life,
who suffered the most from Thanos,
And so I thought that is going to come, and Thanos' own loss, right? Thanos' own loss is part of all of this. So back to the point I was making before. When any of the original Avengers on the screen, I feel like they have a responsibility. It's like when maybe in the film world, the person at the top of the call sheet has to be like the example on set. I feel like each of those guys had to lead certain parts of the movie, and they were great in those scenes.
Well, the directors said that you can't write a script with 25 characters on one page. it doesn't work. So they basically made it, they were a bunch of different teams, and it's like because basically you separate them into kickball teams, and it's a tournament. So it's a captain of each, kind of like of each team, and they're simultaneously going around as if it's like a tournament, because you can't have them all on one page, which I thought was a good analogy.
And I think that's a great point, and I think all of the main Avengers who had to lead one of those teams helped elevate everybody else. Like, Thor was great with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was great it was just him, Rocket, and Groot. Right?
Yeah. Tree. I thought he was rabbit in the tree.
Doing is that a MacGuffin? The quest, like he's going to go find something. I guess he's got to go find his axe.
Well, he does get his axe. Is a thing that you never know what is. You never know what it is, and it's not important to know what it is. It's what drives the plot.
So it is important.
It is important.
It is important, but he's basically doing like a video game, right? And then you have Captain America, who I think we haven't seen the full Captain America story yet. I think that the next movie will be very much about resolving what happened in Captain America Civil War.
Where him and Thor, like at the end when they finally are together, and he's like, "Oh, you copied my beard" or whatever. That is totally improvised between the two of them. They asked if they could just do their own lines, because they said to the directors, like, "Look, we've known each other for so many years. We're going to see each other after not seeing each other. Let us just riff."
That's great.
And they let them do that. Also, Mark Ruffalo was not given the script. He was not allowed to have the script, and he was given a fake script.
Why?
That he thought was the real story, because apparently he's been the one him and Tom Holland have accidentally multiple times given spoilers for the movie. Tom Holland also wasn't given the script.
That's hilarious.
They had and Mark Ruffalo joked that the fake one was better than the real one.
All right. Sorry, Jose is there pondering. What did you think?
I think that if in the next movie there are no Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know who is going to bring the humor in the movie. Because so far, besides Ragnarok,
you can make it up. It doesn't matter. No one knows.
That was the first movie that I saw with some kind of humor.
Yeah, they made it way better.
In a superheroes movie, and all the rest are
have
too
you guys
serious.
seen Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cute, but Spider-Mans don't count, because those movies are always kind of funny and cute.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
But like talking about Avengers movies, they're generally a bit like they take themselves a bit too seriously, and Ragnarok and Guardians changed that, I think.
Yeah,
But Guardians 2 then shit all over it.
Okay. Guardians 2
is your Last Jedi.
It's a Last Jedi situation. Okay.
But that's true. I will have to say though that I want to say quickly that Mom made a point yesterday that really I thought was brilliant. Or this morning, she was like, "I'm really upset about the ending," and I think it's not a spoiler. Like a lot of them die. Won't say who, but it was all over the news after that. Many of them die, and Mom was like, "No wonder kids these days are so anxious. Their superheroes die. When I was a kid, no superhero ever would have died in a movie," and I thought that was just a really interesting point.
Yeah, but okay, so there's two components to that. One is, and Marvel really doesn't go dark the way I think superhero movies now, like for some reason, because of the the Nolan Batmans, everyone seems to think that dark means it's a good superhero, and that's really not the case. So I think aside from the darkness piece of it, another piece of it is that stakes have to matter. If you're going to have this many characters for this long amount of time, there have to be stakes. And I'm bummed when some of the characters die, but I also know that
basically what they're going to have to do in the last season of Game of Thrones. Somebody has to die. There's a story can't move forward.
But I also feel like because of the way the Infinity Stones work, it's like they have the option
they can all come back.
To kill everyone and then bring them all back.
Right.
Well, yeah, I think that'll be part of it. I mean, the way the Infinity War thing works in the comics, nobody's alive at the end except for like 2 people and Thanos. So there's no question that something will happen, but it doesn't mean that there won't be sacrifices made. Speaking of Mom, though, I wrote down as we were watching the movie some of the questions Mom
had. Can we start with her opening line?
Hold on, I have it written down.
You wrote down the opening line.
So, well, I don't know the opening line, but
the first thing she said.
As we're getting ready to start the movie,
yeah.
Mom first says she's getting excited about watching a hero movie, and she's telling us about having seen Iron Man 3. And then she says, "Is Iron Man 3 the one where Superman dies at the beginning?"
It's amazing.
And then I tried to explain to her.
Something I would say or Jose would say.
I explained to her that these are different universes. They don't interact with each other. She goes, oh, wait, Iron Man 3 is the one with the Flash. Also in the same DC universe as Superman. Then the Avengers starts, and Mom at one point asks, hey, is that Captain America? She was surprised Captain America was in the movie. And then as we get further into the movie, because she slept through a lot of the first night, which I respect, I sleep in movies all the time. The second night, she goes, wait, is it 4 stories going on at the same time? Then at one point she says, wait, I think I saw this on an airplane.
Yeah, she did say that.
But to be fair, that happens with 85% of all movies we watch. She thinks she's seen them on the airplane. She probably has.
The day she was complaining about Overboard, she was like, that movie was so... I think I saw it on an airplane. But it's not like you're criticizing a movie you're not sure you even saw. She's like, I probably saw it on an airplane.
And then last but not least, Thanos appears, the big purple guy, who's killing everybody. And she goes, is that the bad guy?
She's so cute.
Did I get all the questions you heard? Or was it...
Yeah, no, the opening one about, that's the one where Superman dies at the beginning. And we're like...
So, in the end, though, it's always a joy watching these. And what's fun is where we're staying, we actually move the couches around, so it's like movie theater sitting.
It's like in rows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
first
we get
row,
rows.
second row. But Costa, is it not so much more fun? This is like, you don't know if Orphan Black or Super Troopers is funny if you're Canadian or not. I don't know if this movie would have been good if I didn't watch it with, like, my Coles notes.
Agreed. I agree. If I wasn't watching
Avengers
it,
Cliff Notes,
explaining all sorts of stuff to me.
I would be texting you at the same time, but it's not the same.
So sometimes, so let's talk about talking during movies for a moment.
You really, you know what? I have to say, it's like a chef who flambés something, and you have to know if it's like just the right heat without burning it. You have to play a very delicate game
of talking.
Yeah. You gotta know when to talk, when not to talk, when to ask a question.
And what types of questions are important to ask.
But you talk all the time.
But it's relevant. It's
a skill.
Whereas
it is an absolute skill.
I will say, watching... Mom, I love you so much and you're amazing, but watching a movie with you is literally like watching director's commentary, except it's not the director, it's like the director's third cousin.
That's more like Mom. I warned both of you on Twitter and in person and via text, if you watch this movie with me, you will pause a lot. Like, there will be pauses, there will be questions.
And there is Roger sleeping and only saying sleeping. Fanny, shh, look at the movie.
While he's sleeping.
While he's asleep. Just watch the movie, Fanny. And then goes back to sleep.
I think talking during a movie, so for me...
No, wait, sorry, but the best is like... Right, you can ask pertinent questions to the story, but the best is when Mom just starts talking. She gets on such a roll that she's like, oh my God, he walked on the screen. There's the bad guy. What's he doing? Is he walking to the right? Oh my God, he picked up something. What did he pick up? What did he pick up? You're just like, we're all watching it at the same time.
No.
And yeah,
that is not okay talking.
So okay,
when you give a play-by-play of what's happening on the screen.
For me, I really like watching movies with people. I like going to the movies with people. I admire people who can go by themselves. But for me,
it's a
movie watching
experience.
Is a social experience. It doesn't mean it's always a talking experience. But for me, like we literally have a whole podcast based on us going to the movies and then talking about them with each other. So I don't like disturbing people during a movie, but I like talking during a movie.
Yeah.
And I have watched movies with one or two people in my life where like something will walk across the screen and I'll be like, oh wow, cameo by David Hasselhoff, and they'll just stare at me like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, okay, I guess that's the way.
You know where it's not cool to talk?
Sorry, Becky.
No.
That shy is because not normally, 100% of the time you have seen the movies before us, always. So you know what is coming.
No, that's not true.
But
you know what? We watched Split together for the first time. That scared the life out of me.
That's true.
And we watched Green Room together.
We have to see another horror movie this week.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to figure out. Maybe we can watch that the Neon Dream one that Lindsay recommended. Maybe not.
No.
Because not good for watching with mom and dad.
I don't know. It just sounds really scary if she recommended it.
Okay. All right. Speaking of recommending things, let's go to our recommendations. Would anyone like to start?
I recommend seeing Counting Crows live in concert because their concert was amazeballs. I was super impressed and it was excellent and beautiful and incredible. And a shout out to Andrew Ganger because that is one lucky man who gets to work with such an awesome band. It was very, very cool.
And
it was like
what made your experience extra good?
Oh, that Shai told me repeatedly to call the venue to find out the schedule of the night, which I ignored him for, and then finally an hour before I was like, I need to call the venue. And I called and because I like to deal with babysitting and stuff like that, and they gave us the minute-by-minute schedule of what everything was going to happen at the pavilion. Amazing. And it was awesome. We had great seats, like fifth row center, worth every penny. It was like a dream come true. I'd never seen them. So it was super awesome. I also maybe could recommend Iron Fist. I think so. I think I recommend if you're really into like the superhero stuff and martial arts.
Just made like I smelled a fart face. Nope.
I mean, I think it's fun. I think if you are really into it's easy to see. It's like martial arts. There's an easy plot. You could for sure fall asleep during it.
And Adam Duritz had the t-shirt.
And Adam Duritz was wearing the Iron Fist t-shirt at his concert. Very good tie-in. I cannot recommend Riverdale, even though I'm super into it. But I uphold my status.
You just shame watch.
I'm going to shame watch.
Continue to shame watch that one.
All right,
how's the recommendation of movie only?
Movie, TV,
anything,
music,
food if you need like a snack.
Experiences.
Member of our
I totally recommend horseback riding.
Oh, Becky. I told you show. Becky gets an I told you show for the horseback riding.
Okay.
Yes, I bullied the family into going with me.
I had to say thank you to Fanny for proposed the experience.
Who's Becky?
And
Fanny.
Fanny and Becky.
Wow.
But I had to say, if you do it, at least in North Carolina for 2 hours on the top of a horse, the size of a dinosaur, you better bring a cushion for your tushy and for if you are a man for something else.
You can say your huevos on.
And then
this is an explicit podcast.
First hour is amazing. Second hour is a little bit painful, but it's still amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I actually am in the middle of watching what you guys have recommended, which is Glow Season 2. So I literally cannot think of what else I've watched. Maybe I saw a movie recently. I don't know, but I've been watching catching up on Glow Season 2, so that's something you guys have recommended, and it's really good.
Cool. So I want to keep running with the money heist thing. We're into season 2. I love it, but I also love that both Pam and our friend Alana have started watching it and check in with us on a regular basis on watching the show, and it is super fun. If you're watching a show that we're watching at the same time, I love going back and forth with you. And I'm having so much fun with Alana and Pam talking about Money Heist, which is, again, the telenovela of heist movies.
I'm so glad you like it. That's going to be I told you so for me eventually. Okay. You get to the end.
So then I'd like to also talk about, I went to a very serious film, a auteur art film. Becky, look at Becky's face. She's like, you did?
Now Becky's smelling a fart who she's not sure it is. She's like, was that my fart? Was it somebody else's fart?
I went with my dear friend Mark, who eventually is going to come on the podcast to defend his love.
You went to see the Meg.
Okay.
Eventually, and then this was...
Which is, for Shai,
wait,
art
with
film.
his daughter, Meg, which made
science.
it extra cool.
Okay.
So now this is on the back of taking Mark to his first Fish concert, which we went to the Sunday night before, which was in my top 2 or 3 Fish shows I've ever been to. It was amazing Sunday at Merriweather. By the way, the kids had a great time too the night we took Josh.
But you weren't happy with the second set.
No, the second set. The
first set?
With Mark, a different show.
Oh,
the second set
with the kids.
of the first night with the kids had a section that I thought was like, yeah, but the second night, the Sunday night, which the rule is never miss a Sunday, as you heard from Jackie Kaplan herself, was my 32nd Fish show, and it might have been the best one I've ever seen.
30 seconds?
Yeah, and it's not even that many. Anyways.
Wow.
So, Mark and I then doubled up on hanging out that week, and we went to see The Meg. Now, when you go see The Meg...
Doubled up on hanging out that week?
Yeah, so when you go see The Meg, all right, which we have been planning to see together.
So now you're not going to hang out for like 4 weeks? You did 2 dates in 1 week?
I got to tell you, I would like to see that in the IMAX.
I would love to see The Meg.
So let's
see if it's playing.
Let me tell you about the. Oh no, I'll go see it again. Let's put it this way, I'll go see it again. That's a buy for me. I'm going to say upfront.
Can I just ask? Does Statham have to be in it, or was he was he good in it?
Here's the thing: when you see The Meg, which is a movie that was 100% made to be. They put a certain amount of money into it. They did a math calculation on what they were going to get out in terms of international sales, right? This is a movie that was not made to be an art film, and it promises you certain things. and that we've talked about this 100 times, it delivers on its promises. When you go see The Meg, at a moment you almost feel like the filmmaker is breaking the third wall and looking at you and saying, "Hi there. Did you by chance come to see a movie where Jason Statham barehandedly fights an 80-foot shark? Right this way."
Step right
And
in.
that's what you get. It is so over the top and funny, but not like Sharknado funny. It's funny because A, I jumped many times.
Really?
B, Statham.
Whoa.
Well, first of all, look. Being underwater is terrifying to me. So just the fact that the opening bits of the movie takes place in
There's
one
no
of these.
sand in water.
No, but there's just being under. They're in an underwater observatory during the movie, at the beginning, and that alone, I was like
Just
super
getting, like,
anxious. I was like,
chillies.
"Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, this
Right,
is
the
killing me."
closest movie theater is 54 miles
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
That's
no.
worth it. Anyways, so
It's up at the top.
I start getting super anxious already, and then they have some good jump scares in the movie. I thought the shark was well done. And I thought the supporting cast was also really much better than I thought, and much more involved in the story than I thought they would be. And specifically, Ruby Rose was in it, who was also in
right.
Pitch Perfect 3, and who's
And
also
she's gonna
cast to play
play
Batwoman on the next
Batwoman.
CW show. And you know I love the CW shows. She was a total highlight of the movie. She was
Right on.
She wasn't doing anything super special, but she was cool and she was fun and she was totally into being part of this movie. But I wouldn't say it was Sharknado dumb, because I actually thought the effects were pretty cool, and I thought they tried to make a Jurassic Park kind of story in a way. And the only thing that really they have left to do is Megs 2, more Megs.
Working
actually,
title.
in fact, someone, I want to say, who gave me this? Oh, man. Adam, yeah. A friend named Adam, he and I were talking about it, and he says, so the sequel is going to be called Meg 2, more Megs, more Statham. And it's based on a game that he played with his brother where they would just make up trailer ideas for Statham movies. This is Jason Statham. So this totally fit that. So the Meg, I'm all in on it. Super fun.
And I've heard that from other people as well.
It delivers on its promise.
I have to say.
You don't go to see the Meg to see character development.
Do you think, Lily, because these past few days that we were in the beach, and the beach was amazing, perfect days, and almost nobody was in the water. Like I remember.
Do you think it's because of the Meg?
Like, I remember-
people have gone to see the Meg.
I remember my father when he told me when the movie Jaws came out.
People didn't go to the beach,
It
you're
was in the
right.
summer in Barcelona.
And people didn't
hot
go in the
summer,
water.
and nobody
I've heard
went
that
into
before.
the beach because they were scared of sharks, and that one shark will come.
Look, I'm always scared of sharks, but I will say this movie made me not want to go in the water. It was
That's
truly
right,
terrible.
that's right.
They do these shots, these over the bird's eye view shots, where you see like people or a boat, and then you see the shark going, and it just makes me super anxious. So I thought, and it's not a bloody movie. That's the thing that there was a little bit of controversy. It is a PG-13 movie. There's almost no blood in the movie. That might have made it fun. That might not have made it fun. I thought they delivered with the movie with what it was promised, and I don't think it needed to be R-rated to be as fun as it was. Shout-outs.
Shout outs. Cousin Vanessa, because she's the best and I miss her. And I feel like I wish she had seen me horseback riding yesterday because she would have gotten a kick out of it. And Shelly for giving us, like, honestly, Shelly, for giving us a play-by-play of her reactions to the episodes via chat.
That also
WhatsApp.
include whatever she's making for dinner that night. Well,
So,
Cool. All right, Cousin Shelley. Beck. Slowly.
I want to shout out to Summer Parker, who we FaceTime with this week.
Yes.
And her mom, Heather.
And her mom, Heather. It was super fun. And Peanut.
And Peanut and Emmy.
It was super fun to...
Oh, and
And
her dad.
Stuart.
And her dad,
We
Mr.
basically
Parker.
met the whole gang. It was super fun to just get to see you and talk to you, and I don't know. Thanks for getting on FaceTime with us. So
That was
shout
a
out to
really
Summer.
fun extending the
Special.
Friday Night Movie family, like taking it to the next level. Like when you, I will say this, and we mean this about all the guests. Once, if you aren't already part of our family, which some of the guests are,
Most of you are.
figuratively and DNA wise, but those who join us really do. You're in the family forever, and this was a further extension of it because now all of Summer's family really is part of our family. That was really cool. Jose, do you have any shout outs?
No, not really. I mean, what is case?
What is a shout out, Sean?
A shout out is we take a moment during the podcast to
He
highlight.
only listened to the first half of the podcast. He didn't get to the
we,
second half.
we use it in a lot of different ways. We talk about friends that are in our lives that we value. We talk about people who have taken the time to listen to the podcast and make an effort to tell us what they're enjoying or give us ideas for subjects. We'll give a shout out to artists that we respect or TV, creators that we think are awesome to make sure that we're promoting them as much as possible. So it could be any one of those things.
Well, thank you, the three of you, for inviting me today to share with you this moment. We are sitting in a bed, four of us, in a room,
Very cute.
having the best time, and I mean, this is holidays. Thank you to you.
Oh, yeah. So, thank you. That's awesome. That's very touching, hermano. So, I have a couple shout outs. One is to Eyal Pierce. I don't know if you guys remember Eyal, but he was a camp kid. He was younger when I was a counselor, but he interned for me once, and now he is back in Washington, and he is on his way to being a doctor. And we had lunch,
Oh my
and
God, shall you make doctors?
well, actually, I keep telling him, because my profession is not medical, that like every time he tells, every time
You're a hypochondriac.
wait, so every
Your
time
hobby is medical.
it's all gonna come back. So he I always tell him whenever he reminds me that he's about to become a doctor, I'm like, oh God, thank goodness. Because I figure your parents would hate my guts because of the one summer he took a break from doing medical things to intern with me. And so, he's doing amazing things, and I'm really proud of him and proud to be buddies with him. But he has an app called Sublux that he's created. He actually created a few medical-related apps, but this one in particular I think is amazing for our family, because this one called Sublux that you can get on the iTunes store enables you to, like, let's say you want to look at x-rays and learn about different elements of your bones
This is not
and things
healthy
like
for
that.
our family.
So let's say you have an x-ray yourself, but you want to compare it against, oh look, here's the L spine. I want to compare that to mine.
Don't compare the L spine. It's a bad idea for our family.
They can walk you through all the elements of the vertebrae.
My L spine looks like scaffolding.
They walk you through the different
Being held
ligaments
together by nuts and bolts.
bones, and so it's essentially x-rays. Oh, I'd like to learn about the hip.
This is very cool.
So you can actually look at all the x-rays of the human body, and they walk you through all the different places, which I think for our family is extremely valuable, because he told me that this is really built for medical students. So like I didn't need to promote it, and I said, oh no, my family needs this app.
Medical students or medical enthusiasts.
Exactly. So Eyal, lots of love for you. And then I wanted to note about Summer in particular. Summer, I have this in my notes here. Yes, it was great meeting her whole family via FaceTime, but also congratulations, she graduated high school.
No, she will in December.
She's graduating high school in December at 15.
Just like the green light that she can graduate high school at
is-
15. She is a rock star.
Yeah, which is amazing. I also want to give a shout out to the All-Star Comic-Con crew. They're starting their podcast network. They're doing all sorts of awesome promotion for next year's All-Star Comic-Con, which we can guarantee I will be at. And we're really excited for those guys. They really put together something amazing. That's where we did the Ozone dance workshop with the family. And so those guys are blowing it up on social media. And then last but not least, I have a shout out to Becky's friend Janine G, who has started her Janine G Wellness Instagram account that I am following. That is all sorts of cool, I would say, advice for healthy living. And it's exciting, and I'm following
On Instagram?
that. And again, back to the health thing, the whole health thing. I'm very interested in it.
I think
It's
you're
on
gonna like it a
Instagram?
lot. She's gonna. I don't really know. We don't quite know yet what form it will take, but so far it's photos of really delicious food with advice and tips and information about how to eat well and take care of yourself.
So I really dig that. That's really cool. So with that, where can people find you, Lily?
Chichi K. Gomez on Twitter.
Jose?
It's just at Chichi
No,
K.
Jose.
Gomez.
There.
Yeah, Lily manage.
He doesn't have anything, but I'm trying to get him to get Instagram.
Do Instagram.
Okay.
Come on, we'll set you up
Let's
this
do
trip.
Let's do it.
All right. So we'll report back with Jose's Instagram.
Right. But like, I just want people out there to close their eyes and imagine how fun it would be to follow him.
And
He's pretty funny.
Yeah, exactly. And we can post things like, for example, Allie's cousin Liz she was always fascinated with Jose being a martial arts champion, and so I actually many years ago, I took a very muscular picture of Jose and I put it on.
You didn't
mug.
take the picture; it was like a professional,
It was a professionally
photo
taken picture
of him, like no shirt on, doing like a jump.
Yeah, and flexing
and flexing.
I made it on a mug for her and brought it for her as a gift.
Amazing.
So hopefully you can promote that stuff as well.
You can follow me at Paper BK Princess on Twitter. You should tweet at me, but not too much, because when I get too many notifications, I get overwhelmed and stressed, and then I don't open the app. So somewhere between like 3 and 7 notifications is perfect. Once it hits 20, I'm like, no, I just have to wait till they go away.
You gotta live like me. 40,418 unopened email in my Gmail.
40,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah. And you can follow me at Pancake4Table on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow all of the pancake shenanigans at pancake4table.com.
Or tortilla para la mesa. No,
Definitely
torta para la mesa.
don't email him, because he will not
Open your email.
And
It's 40,000, 40,001, 40,002.
and tell your friends about this podcast and rate us on iTunes. Friday Night Movie Pod.
Only if you have something nice to say.
Friday Night Movie Pod.
Yeah, if you're not going to give us a nice rating, just don't bother. What do you get out of it?
Well, no, just do the downloads.
Download us and rate us 5 stars.
And FridayNightMoviePod.com is where you can do that. And then if you want to catch me on the other podcast, Behind the Music, we got some good shows coming up. And with that, we will kick in the theme music, and we will actually dance in person. So we're dancing.
Oh, and shout out to Devin for he said he loves the theme music.
Oh, nice.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
So Devin loves
if you
the
love
theme
the
music.
theme music like Devin, then listen to What Does It Eat on Spotify.
Adiós, 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 adiós. Flova Scotia.
That was the microphone.
Are they gonna-
Good job.
Okay, it's not like 20-inch pizzas from like a New York pizzeria. They're like the size of a DiGiorno. Like, these are not, or like an Amy's.
These
Like,
are a Da
not
Vinci size.
Da Vinci size.
Okay.
Oh, Da Vinci.
The little mini
I've
Da
Googled them.
Vinci's.
I can't find them.
Why was the dough orange?